This is season 3, episode 7 of the Going to Beyond the Food Pro series. And today we're going to talk about non-diet practitioners, success stories, volume 2. Stay tuned. Welcome to the Going Beyond the Food Show Pro Edition. I'm Stephanie Dodier, clinical nutritionist and certified intuitive eating counselor, creator of the Going to Beyond the Food method, a global coaching and online training approach focused on helping women make peace with food and their bodies so they can live a fulfilling life right now. This special podcast series is designed for the health pro wanting to integrate the non-diet approach in their practice. So if you're a nutritionist, a health coach, a dietitian, a doctor, a therapist, or a fitness pro, this special podcast series is specially designed for you. Ready, sister? Let's do this. Hello, my dear sister colleague. This is a bonus episode. I wasn't planning on doing a 7th episode in season 3, but here we are. I had a discussion with our group, our current Non-Diet Mentorship cohort 3, and we decided to record something for you. For many of them, this was their first time ever on a podcast, and they wanted to share their wins. This group of women has done tremendous work, both personally and professionally, in 5 months in our program. Some of them did their personal work around intuitive eating, others around body image. All of them had a huge transformation in their mindset by learning our coaching framework, the self-coaching framework, which they are now coaching their client with. And that's part of this discussion we had today, because it's a question that many of you have, like, how do I coach better my client, right? How do I help them through their point that they're being stuck into? And so in close to 9 years now that I've been doing this work, I can tell you that my own coaching practice has tremendously evolved over the last 3 years since I integrated self-coaching. And this is why now I teach it to all the professional students in all my program with the general population as well. So you'll hear them talk about that, but the impact of that mindset technique in their business has been outstanding. 3 of them, I think, on the podcast today had no business or very little business before starting 5 months ago. And 5 months later, they have a business. But not only that, they're so busy in their practice that they have to hire nannies, like in 5 months. And I can tell you, they would have probably not been able to see this growth in themselves and in their business if they hadn't learned how to manage their mind. So you'll hear us talk about that consistently. And I want to keep putting that message out there because diet brain is something that is real. And if you've never heard me talk about diet brain, you should scroll back through the podcast feed. But diet brain is how diet culture and dieting has transformed our brain. Our brain has this thing called neuroplasticity. Most of you as professionals have heard about that. And neuroplasticity serves as an adaptation mechanism of our brain to our environment. So when we are oppressed by diet culture for years, and if not decades, our brain has to adapt in order to survive in this very dangerous environment, not only psychologically, but physically with starvation. Diet brain is the term that I coined that express that transformation that most of us have gone through in our thinking. And then so we land on the other side of intuitive eating or body image work, but we carry the same thinking pattern. In the world of psychology, we call that thought errors, right? We carry the same pattern of thinking coming out, and then now we want to launch a business, but we don't have the right way of thinking about our business. And then we get, quote, stuck. And I see that too often. As a group, you listening to me, people who work with me, we are on a mission. We do this work from our heart, right? We want to help people that are where we were, right? We want to help them free themselves from diet culture and dieting and body image and all that drama. But we don't have a effective way of engaging with our business from a place of power, because for some of us, we carry these same thought errors because we've never addressed the mindset part of liberating ourselves from diet culture. And you're going to hear me talk about this at a general population level, probably for the next 6 to 12 months consistently. Because when I look at my programs, when I look at the professional, I say, and I ask them, what is the one thing in either group that made the most significant impact on your journey? All of them say the mindset technique, the transformation in their way of thinking that they have learned in our program. So you will see that in the practitioner that are going to talk to you today. And I call that the Non-Diet Practitioner Success Volume 2, because Volume 1, 6 months ago, had that same level of impact. If you haven't listened, go and listen to it. We linked to it in our show notes. Anyway, enough talking. This is for you that are sitting on the sideline, that perhaps are trying out there and you need some inspiration, or perhaps you need the inspiration to step into your own career to help other. This is for you. I hope it's going to inspire you to take action and show up into the world. We're going to talk about personal wins, business wins for those practitioners over the last 5 months, the role of self-coaching, how they coach their client, success stories about not only their business, but their own personal journey. A few of them will talk about that as well. So let's go to the interviews with the big S, because there's close to 10 people on this podcast here, and I'll see you after. Welcome to the show. I am sitting in front of my Zoom screen and I have a whole bunch of health professionals that are in front of me, and there will be more coming in. So if you're listening to the podcast as we move through the next 30 to 40 minutes, you will hear all kinds of different voices, different opinion, different background, and we're going to talk about how mindset has impacted our non-diet professional here in their personal and professional journey. How has mindset played a role in their overall success? Each one of them has a different story, a different background. So you won't hear too much of me on this podcast episode. I'm really turning the table around and letting other people talk and share their journey. So I'm going to go on with the first question, and then I'm going to let them talk. So how has mindset, or thought work, as we call it in our world, impacted your success over the last 5 months? And please share your wins. People are always interested in knowing your win and your success over the last 5 months. So over to you. Who wants to go first? Go ahead, Pavlina.
Hi there. I'm Pavlina. I'm a holistic nutritionist, and I specialize in helping women with chronic health conditions who have anxiety around food. So just to say about my journey, I have to say that I speak more of a personal journey for me. I have been going through an intensive healing journey. And before I met Stephanie and before I started doing the mind work, my life and my journey has been run by my emotional mind, so to speak. And what I mean by that is that I was very often overcome by my emotions, feeling low, depressed. And it was very hard. You know, being run by emotions, it's really, really hard. Now, as I started working with Stephanie, she introduced me to the self-coaching model. And the one first biggest thing that I started to, well, first of all, I have to back up a little bit. I found out that I am very unaware. I am not very aware of how my emotions really bringing me the results in my life, and how the emotions, can be managed. So when I stepped into this program, the one first thing that blew me off, it was like becoming aware. The awareness that I started to, by practicing all these self-coaching models that we did, how self-aware I started becoming. Now, it was an eye-opening really experience for me. And slowly, over time, it started really transform really profoundly every single area in my life, I have to say. My relationship with my daughter, that was one of the biggest things that I have been struggling. And once I started becoming aware of how my emotional, non-management, should I say, has led to the actions and the results that I'm getting with my relationship with my daughter, how it, went into really creating disconnection from my daughter, then I started changing slowly things. And it didn't go immediately. It started very slow, just becoming aware, and then started working on, things that I can do differently. And the fact how my daughter started to respond. And for me, it's the biggest heartwarming experience that I get from being able to start managing my thoughts, my mind, and see the results.
It's a beautiful story. And it's impacting your ability to create a business, because you now have an identified ideal client too, and you know exactly what you want to work on.
Yes. And that's also a eye-opening experience, bringing the awareness into it. When I wasn't aware before, you're looking at the surface and you're able to understand and see the surface, right? And it's you can't do that. You can't build a business and help my ideal client if I am not aware what truly goes on, right, with my ideal client. So that's a huge thing, of course, for sure.
Thank you, Pavlina. Oh, you have something else?
I just want to quickly share one last thing. I think that's also was very profound for my life. That was just last week, about my past experience going to the dentist.
Yes.
And how I was able to completely transform my experience with my dentist. I had a PTSD from my early years, and anytime and every time I went, I had high levels of anxiety. I hardly slept the day before. I sweat, and I hyperventilated on the chair. So it wasn't easy to go to the dentist. But my last experience that happened just a week ago, I went to the dentist, or I was scheduled to go to the dentist about an hour prior. I started experiencing anxiety coming on. And I started with, deep breathing, just getting in connection with myself. And then I thought of a mantra, the thought that I should think that, will help me to accept my dentist as for what it is, my dental visit. And I did. I found out the mantra that I was repeating myself all the way to the dentist, all the way there. And I have created an experience. I was conscious on the chair, very calmly breathing, connected to self, being aware that I'm creating the experience, and really actually being grateful for that experience, to be able to go through that experience and change that. Like being in the driver's seat of my experience, not being taken over by my feelings. I think it's huge for me.
It's very interesting because it expresses how the non-diet approach helps people feel empowered in their life.
Very much.
Right?
Yes.
It's how this is done. It's not by telling people they're empowered, it's by letting them create or showing them the way to create their reality and their experience through their thoughts and their feelings. That's a beautiful story that expressed that globally. And it has nothing to do with food, but all will be applicable in food as well.
Yes. Oh, absolutely. Thank you.
Thanks. The next person, Robin.
Hello. I am Robin, and I own a small yoga studio, Ruby Red Yoga, in Alliston, Ontario, which is, I like things small. And I am both a yoga instructor as well as a non-diet food and body image coach. And my biggest transformation and what thought work has done for me over the last 5 months has been really about building my relationship with myself and with my body, and learning how to trust myself again. trust myself around food, trust myself at making decisions, trust myself to be able to put myself out there and build this who I want to become, and to stop hiding behind labels and hiding behind what I think society wants. I can start showing who I am, putting myself out there more.
And you're with the structure of coaching, we thought you also are out there coaching people, and you're loving it.
I am absolutely loving it. I have a program called Namaste Nutrition, which is it's 12 weeks, brings everybody through intuitive eating as well as body image work, and it helps them build trust with themselves, body trust, food trust, relationship trust with themselves. Because really, the most important relationship that any of us have is with ourselves, and that's the one that we need to build first.
It's really the philosophy. We're talking to yoga here, but when we go to a yoga class, we're taught to take yoga off the mat, right? Bring yoga into our life, not just on the mat. This is like this coming to reality in the concept of food and body image.
Yes, yeah. I've always been of the thought that instead of trying to make our body fit the pose in yoga, we make the pose fit our bodies. So make those adjustments. Don't try to fit into a certain mold. Don't try to make it look pretty for Instagram. Let it feel good. And so that's the same philosophy that I've brought into food and body image work, is to feel good in your own body, no matter what it looks like.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And it's also a great example for people to see how your skill set as a yoga teacher transfers into coaching people with food and body image. Like, you coach people on your mat. Now you just need a little different structure, the self-coaching, to coach people with food and body image.
Yeah, for sure.
Thank you for sharing, Robin.
Thank you.
Anyone else? Jillian.
Hi, I'm Jillian Yuan. I'm a non-diet health coach for moms, and I empower moms to lose the guilt and eat and accept their bodies, and to also raise their kids to be happy eaters. So the biggest thing for me with the self-coaching and mindset work has been twofold. So one, for my business, before taking your program, Stephanie, my business was all over the place. I didn't know who I wanted to help, and I was just like, I want to help everybody. But through mind work with you and just like really honing in on what my specialty area is, which is moms, and just accepting that and using my past experience from nursing and working with moms, that has really helped me to just manage my mind and all the worries that I had about putting myself out there for working with moms. And then it's also helped me in my own personal life and my own family with my husband and my son. And I really am doing the intuitive eating work as well. It helped me see that a lot of our struggles were around food, and a lot of my worries was around food. We were making 3 different meals, and it was just one for me because it had to be like just so, and then one for my husband, how he wanted it, and one for my son. And so now using all the intuitive eating and division of food responsibilities, feeding responsibilities, it's just really like brought peace to our family, and then incorporating it into just my relationship with both my son and my husband. So, and it's interesting, like being able to set more boundaries, but also like I've let go of a lot of anxiety and stress. So
So your life is easier.
Helpful. It's easier, way easier. Motherhood is way easier. And that's what I want to bring to the moms that I work with. So, yeah.
Thank you for sharing, Jillian. Who wants to go next? Ardelle.
Hello. Okay. So yes, my name is Ardelle, and I own my business called Aromas and Avocados, where I guide ambitious women through the process of breaking free from perfectionism and dieting so they can intuitively embrace healthy and abundant lives. And I shared like my transformation with you recently, Stephanie. And I think the big piece for me was that I was doing, or what I thought, I was doing a lot of the intuitive eating principles on my own. And what I realized is that by being a part of this collective and a sisterhood and having your guidance is that there were a lot of things I wasn't allowing myself to see. And I think there was this component of being afraid to see it, because it also meant that I was detaching from my title as a holistic nutritional consultant. And that felt really scary and lonely to be able to step into that role as an intuitive eating coach. And the other thing that was so unique to this program is having the thought work that we're all talking about, because it kind of pulled everything together for me. It deepened my relationship with myself because I started to get to know my patterns. When I felt stuck in an intuitive eating principle before, I didn't have the tools to really dig into the why. And it wasn't until this thought work that started to really, like I said, strengthen the relationship with myself. And that's also when I really started to feel the sense of calm and peace, because it's not to say that we're going to have a rocky road ahead of us, but that we're able to just understand why it's happening and have the confidence that there's a way out. And by developing this skill for myself, like so many of the women on this call that I've already mentioned, it really, really improved the relationship I had with my partner, with my clients, like being able to show them a different level of communication and compassion, because you taught us to identify our brain as something separate than ourselves. And so when I see my clients start to slip into that, I'm like, that's their brain. And so we can compartmentalize it, and also showing them that ability to provide more compassion as well. So yeah, I think it's so interesting. I'm pretty sure most of us started the program with using it for our own personal work. And then when we got into the business component of it, I mean, it was insane how many more limiting beliefs I was able to dismantle because of the thought work. And really, like, I think you asked us to share some wins. And my biggest win is that prior to starting this program, I was honestly ready to throw in the towel with my consulting business. It's not that I didn't love my clients, but I felt like I had reached capacity of the work that I was doing with them. It often felt kind of surface leveled because I was fixating more on the action items and not the root cause. And so this reignited my excitement and my passion and my purpose. And so, like, yeah, I don't know where I would be if I didn't, especially with the circumstance of COVID and all that stuff, but I don't know where I would be. And I'm so grateful for what we learned.
So this is a very interesting point, because that's the number 2 question I get from general population practitioner is, I need to learn how to coach clients or people, right? This is especially relevant because we do have a number of people that are therapists, and I'll get one to talk soon. I'm looking at Sabrina here, but she'll talk soon. But many profession in a non-diet professional do not have like a therapy background, right? They're nutritionists, RD, coaches, and people are really not confident in their coaching ability, right? And I think you have found, and I think that's a case for you, you didn't have any training in coaching. I think with your experience with thought work, it led you to a different coaching practice with your clients. Am I correct?
Yeah, that's exactly it. Like it something you were saying at the beginning, or maybe someone else had said this, but the piece to the coaching that I was missing is I was giving my clients all the answers before, where now they're developing the answers on their own. And that I really think is the key to true transformation and sustainable change, because I'm not empowering them, they're empowering themselves. And yeah, so you're right. Like I didn't have any formal coaching training. Like I had a little bit here. I did some like motivational interviewing and so on, but it wasn't to the level that we were able to learn through this program.
And we didn't learn how, and this is the same thing for me. I didn't learn how to coach other people. I learned how to coach myself first. And then I just transferred that skill to other people. Because without being able to coach myself, then how can I teach other if I don't know how to go into my own brain and figure out what the heck is going on there? So great conversation. Are we going to get Sabrina talking, who canceled the client to be here?
Yeah. That is how much this program means to me, though, is that I will move my schedule around that has been set in place for probably the last month just so that I can show up. So for those of you that don't know me, I am Sabrina Rogers, and I own Healthily Ever After, and I help perfectionistic professional women overcome body image issues, get off the diet roller coaster, and finally feel like not only do they look like they have their shit together, but now they actually do, because that body image piece, that food piece has always been holding them back. And depending on when you listen to this, you can tune into the Emotional Eating Therapist podcast, which we'll be launching here shortly. And super excited about that. I think my biggest shift, and this is why I came into the program, I've been following Stephanie for probably 4-ish years. It's been a long time. And I've been practicing in that non-diet space for the last 3 or 4 years confidently. But I just couldn't get the marketing right. You know, every coach that I have worked with over the last 5 years has always told me in some way or another, sell them what they want, give them what they need, which depending on what space you're in and how long you've been in the non-diet world, people want to lose weight. That is what they want. When we get down to the root of it, they really want to just feel confident in their skin. But when you ask them, what do you want? It's weight loss. And so I was having just a hell of a time coming up with the right words, and then also showing up as myself and not what somebody else thought I should be or should look like or should sound like. And I think the thought work has really helped with that, of practicing that more intentional thought of, okay, but I have my own message, and my message may be delivered in a way that somebody can hear that somebody else is missing the mark on. And so that has been really helpful to get, like Stephanie has really pushed me to show up on social media, doing lives and reels on Instagram, and now getting the podcast going. And I think a lot of that has to do with, like Ardelle said before, of like separating that brain out and naming it. Like I've always been able to like separate, okay, I know that's a thought. I know where that's coming from. But naming Bertha has really added this layer of humor to it, where I can be like, okay, Bertha, thanks for looking out for me, but this isn't working anymore. And then we can have conversations, Bertha and I, back and forth, and work through why she wants me to stay small and quiet and why that's no longer working for me.
And it's interesting because you're talking about this whole marketing piece, like with most coaches telling you that, which many of you and me have had this experience, right? We paid a lot of money to be told to like give them what they want, sell them what they want, and give them what they need. It has a huge drain on us. I don't know about you, but I felt every time I showed up on social media back when I used to do that, I felt like an imposter. And I didn't show up truly who I was because I knew I was bullshitting people.
Yeah, it really made the imposter syndrome hit even harder than like normal of, well, but this isn't what I believe in.
Yes.
And it like you just like makes your skin crawl when you talk about it.
Yeah.
And it just didn't feel good. And it's when I was able to shift that, and I wasn't like that slimy salesperson.
Sleazy.
Yeah, sleazy. It's like when I just showed up, and I can't remember where I heard it, and I know we've talked about it in here with this group, is that all of the marketing that you put out there, your podcast, your social media, any of those things that you put out for free, yes, they're kind of designed to get people to know you and get them into your world, get them to know you, trust you, all of that fun jazz. But it's also how you can serve those people who aren't quite your ideal client, whether it's because they, economically, financially can't afford your programs. That's why we have these things. And as soon as I made that shift, that the marketing piece, all of these extras that I'm doing is how I can serve those who don't have the finances, it changed the game for me.
That's ethical marketing for right? And I want to just add this before I move on to the next person and the next question. Like, I think it's important to understand that, and it's something I hope I drove into everyone, like, we're here to make money and there's no shame about this. Like, if we want to do this work for the rest of our life, we need to earn a living, right? We need to earn a decent living that we can sustain ourselves. And not everybody will be able to afford our coaching, but we're going to create resources, exactly like Sabrina said, for free for all the other people, and that they will be able to see transformation in their own life with the resources we're putting out there, right? It's mission work. Okay. We're seeing a lot of new people coming in. You're probably seeing the screen grow, people who are watching the video. It's our office hour that we hold every week. And traditionally, in our office hours every week, we start the first 15 minutes by sharing the wins we have every week. And that's the topic of conversation right now, the wins that we have been experiencing over the last 5 months, particularly around how mindset and thought work played a role into this. So I don't know if any newcomer wants to contribute to that question. Lisa. Over to you, Lisa.
I can do that. So I am Lisa Dahl. I am an intuitive eating health coach. So I am a non-diet health coach, and I work with women who are ready to ditch the diet so that they can learn how to listen, trust, and respect their bodies and become happy, healthy, and confident at any size through the practice of intuitive eating. So my biggest win has been, prior to this community, I was facilitating my whole body health wellness community, which was a membership-based space. I was charging $49 a month because when I started it, it was in the middle of pandemic, and I felt that I wanted to be accessible for more women and to be able to support that space. What I discovered is that women would benefit better from having a beginning and an end versus an ongoing space. And when I took the best parts of my community and packaged it, my program went from $49 a month to $499 a month. So that's my big win.
So people understand the background of this. Does that mean you make more money?
So,
because often people are afraid, right? If I charge too much, people won't buy my services.
It is actually easier. I have actually found it easier to sell my program, my $29.99 program, than my $49 a month program, because I can be very clear in what they're going to achieve within that 6-month time period. That it became very strategic. And yes, I made more selling my new program in 2 weeks than I did with months worth of my community. So definitely a different monetary model.
That's interesting. So it's easier to sell a higher end product, a $3,000 product, than a $50 product.
As crazy as it sounds, the answer is yes.
See, this is mine. Like, our mind has it that there's no way it's going to be so hard to sell a $3,000 coaching package, when in fact it's the opposite. Like, I often find that, and I share that with Lisa in past, we trade down people. Like, if we have an offer for $200 and we have an offer for $3,000, guess what people are going to take? Most people are going to take the lower price product. But if all we have is that $3,000 product and we're confident into what we're doing, we end up selling it with ease.
Yeah, I have 2 products that I sell. I have one-on-one coaching, which I sell for a package of 12 sessions for $1,800. And then I have my one-on-one small group coaching program for women who would like some community and support and a space to be able to share and explore within other women as I facilitate. And that comes meeting weekly, as well as individual one-on-ones where they dig deep on the material that we've been talking about. So there's 2 great options, and it's really which is best for you. Do you want community and space, or dig deep alone? And both are perfect.
Thank you for sharing. Thank you. Anyone else wants to share on that? Because I have another question for you. Okay. Here's another one. People feel like a fraud. Who has had that experience before? They felt like a fraud. I can't launch my business until I have the perfect website. I can't launch my business until I have a big following on social media. I can't launch my business until I'm perfect with my intuitive eating and body image. Who was there before? Christine is raising her. Okay, now we have a whole house of raised hand. So I'm going to give the talk space to talk to those who haven't talked yet. So I'm going to go to Christine. Please introduce yourself and share your thoughts on that.
Hi, I'm Christine. I'm a certified skin therapist and an intuitive acne coach. So I help really high-strung women stress less, eat intuitively, and basically heal their body image. So when I started, I've had acne for over 6 years. And so I've come a long way, but I always felt like getting on camera, my skin had to be perfect in order to service women. And essentially by just self-coaching and changing my mindset, I really realized that it was sort of like my gift where these women could really relate to me and it helped them trust me more. And so now I'm getting out there and I'm seeing my business grow as a result. So it's been really helpful.
Yeah, because you're being you. What a concept. And it's interesting because I called it with someone else, diet culture marketing, right? The way we are taught to just present our Instagram feed, right? It has to be perfect and the perfect photo and the perfect graphic. You know what, guys? That's diet culture marketing. The non-diet marketing is just being you with no filter.
Just being real.
Yeah, being a real human that works on the inside, not the outside. Okay. Who else raised their hand that hasn't talked yet? I think, did you raise your hand, Jolyn?
Hey, yeah. So my name's Jolyn Martin of Jolyn Martin Fitness. I help moms who feel overwhelmed with food and body image and their relationship to movement. And I kind of help them on that path to, recovering from dieting and all that jazz that all us ladies are kind of talking about. So yeah, what I wanted to share with this regard is definitely when I started as a personal trainer, I felt like that intruder. And, I was starting with clients and I was like, I have no idea what I'm doing. I don't know how they can trust me. But what I actually have learned through this program is that confidence is not built through experience necessarily. Confidence is built through your thoughts. And, we create confidence in the thoughts that we're telling ourselves. So yeah, there are moments where I think, oh, I'm just going to fake it till I make it. Or I think, if I just had this certificate or if I just got this one more program, then I would be the expert. But you know what? I've learned that it's really all about the confidence that comes from within and that emotion. So that's been a big takeaway from this program.
Yeah, who was chasing another certificate before this? Right?
Yep.
A lot of us, right? We're like, I just need another thing on my wall, and then I'm going to feel good to go out into the world. Who is still chasing another certificate today? Who's thinking they're going to go get another certificate when the end is?
Well, I will do a caveat. With the Camfit Pro certification, you do have to update.
Renew.
Yes, you do have to update your education every year.
But you're not going to go get another certificate and a connection yet. It doesn't mean you can't do it. It's just not mandatory for you to feel confident.
That's right.
Yeah. Anyone else wants to contribute? Sadie, you haven't talked to.
Hi, can you just repeat the question? Sorry,
Absolutely.
My brain gets all rambled.
Absolutely. So the question is about feeling like a fraud, right? I can't launch my business until I'm perfect with intuitive eating, or I have the perfect website, or I have the perfect social media, I have the right follower. And you recently launched your website and you just had some great wins, just literally in the last few days. So go ahead and please share with us.
Yeah. So I'm Sadie Brown. The Balanced Brownie is my business and my Instagram. And yeah, I just had some really big wins. I went from, prior to starting this program, I had no business, no practice, and I just graduated as a holistic nutritionist. And I felt like a fraud within my own, within my own industry. I just finished school for holistic nutrition and learned how to build and run and operate a practice. And the reason for doing holistic nutrition is because my main purpose into getting into this whole thing was to help women avoid all of the diet culture bullshit that I went through. And I went to school for holistic nutrition, and I saw how we were running our practices and how we were supposed to do assessments with clients and the tools that we give them. And I'm like, this is so triggering. I can't give this to people. So I graduated wanting to help people. And I'm like, I feel like I'm going to be the gateway coach to disordered eating. And that's the last thing I wanted. So I do the opposite of that now. Basically now I help women who feel out of control around food to feel in control around food without dieting and to feel comfortable in their bodies. I'm an intuitive eating coach, and that's my focus. And now, having gone through this process, I basically was able to, and I'm so glad that it was right from the get-go, I was able to build my practice to be like foundationally non-diet. So like when people come to me and they're looking, like if someone's coming looking for anything remotely diet, I'm like, you're not going to find any of that here. It's so the opposite. And that terrified me to start. My brain was like, this isn't what I was told. I know I don't want to do this, but I feel like I have to. I feel like I'm supposed to. And I had a lot of people telling me, I couldn't do this. This wasn't right. This wasn't the way to go. Whereas now I feel like I just have so much confidence in knowing that this is exactly what I wish I had when I was going through this. And I can offer that to clients. I can offer that to people and really help prevent them from going through some of the stuff that I went through. And I feel like I just like all of that thought work and like manifesting, as soon as I put up my website and, for people to apply to my program, I hadn't even really advertised or posted like anything yet. And I had like 2 people like overnight, literally overnight, like midnight and some other time. So I woke up and I had 2 clients where I'm like, people want to work with me. Awesome. Yeah.
This thought work is actually working.
Unreal.
And you just launched, like literally on Tuesday was the day you launched your website, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like literally 3 days ago. Congratulations. Thank you for sharing, Sadie. So bottom line is this. We all feel like fraud. And the only way out of feeling like fraud is not another certificate or a fancy website. It's actually you working your thoughts out of feeling like a fraud and building confidence within yourself. I want to talk about another question because we do have a lot more people now. This is a concern for a lot of practitioners, is this concept of not knowing how to coach our clients, right? And it's a gap that people are endlessly searching for the unique, special formula on how to coach clients. And part of it is because most certification and most program that trained us as professionals do not include coaching in their curriculum, right? So we end up graduating with no ability to coach people. So for those who are working with clients, how is your coaching skills? Like how has your own mindset work, your own self-coaching work has impacted your ability to coach people? Christine.
I would say that the lived experience is really helpful because you know what they're going through. And then I think, like, it's kind of going to sound funny, but I feel like I'm a natural when it comes to coaching, because I didn't know I was coaching my clients prior to this course. And they were like, oh, you helped me so much with my body image. I'm like, how? So I think I naturally had that inclination because I just care so much about my clients. But now when I do feel stuck, it's nice to have the self-coaching model to fall back on, not just asking why, but actually being able to bring it up to the thoughts and seeing how that creates their reality. So I think the format is also really helpful just to bring it to the next level.
Just a structure to go against, right? Anyone else wants to contribute on that topic? Okay, whoa. Sabrina, whoa, Jillian, and then Robin.
So I've been counseling in some capacity, whether it's been like internship or private practice or working for somebody else for the last 11 11 years. That makes me feel really old. But taking on more of this like self-coaching and this thought work has been really great for myself, and letting go of that ownership of the client's experience of I can only do so much. And rationally, I know that, but Bertha likes to pipe in and she's like, no, you're responsible for everything. That's not true. I think, and then teaching this, because I'm trained in the cognitive behavioral model, but learning the self-coaching specifically the way that Stephanie has taught it has been tremendous for my clients who have been like working through things. And as soon as we teach this model, they're like, whoa, this is the best thing we've ever done in the entire like 5 years that we've been working together. I'm like, are you kidding me?
We've been doing CBT. So people who don't know, self-coaching is a form of CBT in a non-counseling format, because I train people that are not licensed. So I can't, and I'm not equipped to teach the whole CBT. So we teach it in a way that the individual can coach themselves. So that's interesting that your clients are telling you this. It's the same thing you've been doing, just a formula, right? People love formula people, like step by step. Okay, Jillian and then Robin.
Yeah, so I noticed this with my client currently. And also just, so I had training in a certification in coaching already. And plus being a former nurse, like I felt like I had it, a lot of practice with coaching, educating, all that jazz. But what I found with using self-coaching and mostly for myself was before I was kind of assuming I knew what the client thought and possibly, and I'm not sure, but possibly including a little bit of unknown judgment in there. And now I feel that I'm able to, like, it's not about me. It's not about my coaching or my background or anything. It's what it is to the client and what it is, what their experience is about. And I find I'm less judgmental because really it doesn't, like you said, like food, body, motherhood, there's no value, like there's no moral value in any of it. And so being able to hold that space for moms and opening up that knowledge and perspective for them has just been really freeing, I've noticed, for myself and for my clients. And and even just lately, I had the feedback that by her allowing herself to follow her hunger, because again, hunger and fullness has no moral value, she was able to have an easier time with motherhood because she was nourishing herself. And so it's just opened up like amazing opportunities to empower the moms that I work with. So.
And also, I want to say this, it's allowing you to explode all your other professional background too, right? All this stuff, other stuff you've been doing for years that you're a professional, that framework of coaching allows you to bring that in without any judgment.
Yeah, exactly.
Thank you, Jillian. Robin?
Yep. So for me, the self-coaching, I think the main thing is just the awareness that it brings in to being able to pull apart your thoughts from the circumstance and seeing where your thoughts lead you and what that result comes out in your life. And then once you have that awareness of this is how I'm thinking and this is what I'm creating in my life, then being able to pull it back and say, okay, maybe I need to change my thoughts. Maybe I need to create something different. And as opposed to just being, a victim of life circumstances, I can help my clients to take whatever the circumstance is, bring it down to neutral, see what you're thinking about it, how your lens, how you're perceiving it, and then being able to change that and create something totally different and giving them their power back, that they are not a victim of life circumstances. They're not a victim of whatever happened. They're just a victim of their own thoughts. And because it's their own thoughts, they can bring control back and that power back to be able to change their thoughts and create something entirely different.
So your coaching is giving people permission.
Yeah. Giving people permission to think something different, permission to live their life, permission to be whoever they want to be.
And you've had great feedback from your clients on your new coaching.
Yes. Yeah. They are all loving it. Yeah. The 3 that I have right now are, every time we're done a session, they're like, wow, this is amazing. And I'm getting tons of good feedback.
Yeah, that's great. Okay, I want to wrap it up because we've been little did we know, we've been talking for almost an hour, folks. So I want to open it up. Does anyone else want to take this opportunity to share with your colleagues that you have no idea who they are, they're just listening to this here, words of wisdom? Nobody. Christine.
Put in the work.
Put in the work. What does that mean? Elaborate a little bit on that.
You have to practice the skills. So if you stop practicing, you're going to see that all go away. So you really have to make time for the self-coaching. That's kind of been my biggest learning. And as soon as I fall off the wagon, I notice a big difference. So practicing, I think, is key to success.
There's a wagon of self-coaching. Are we all on it? Sadie?
You really have to live what you're coaching people, what you're teaching people. I think the biggest thing for me with the whole mindset and everything is I was applying what I want to teach others, what I want to coach others to all of the areas of my life except for my business. So I was, I'm like, oh, I'm living a balanced lifestyle with my relationships, with food, my body, all these things. And now I have this new thing, my business. And especially when you're starting a new business, it's a big drain of a lot of time, effort, energy. You need to, more than ever, I think, in the beginning, commit to what you're telling other people. Like for me, if it's, helping people live more intuitively, more balanced, I need to be sure that in my business, I'm still prioritizing myself. You still need to, yes, you want to help and nurture and watch your clients grow, but are you still making sure that you're taking care of yourself, meeting your own needs so that you can then, operate your business at your best capacity? Because if you think that you can function on burnout, you can't. Yeah.
That's perfect way of closing this conversation. Because the bro marketing, right? We've learned that term with our guest speaker, Dr. Michelle, right? Bro marketing, mainly dominated by patriarchy, will tell us that we have to kill ourselves into work, right? We have to hustle. Right? We have to hustle our way to success, but that is not how we sustain a business for the rest of our life. So that was a great way of ending this conversation. Thank you very much, everyone, for being here. There you have it, my sister. I hope this served you as an inspiration. And by the way, there's an outtake bonus section in the video format of that. We linked to it in our show note as well. I continued recording as we walked into our regular weekly office hours. We meet together every Thursday. And I continue recording for about 15 or 20 minutes during that meeting. So if you want to see what our meeting looked like, great place for you to go watch the video at the end and you'll see us in our meeting. If you want to continue your journey with us into a non-diet practice, we have many resources for you. If you head to our website, stephaniedodier.com/pro series, we have a bunch of free resources for you to access, from pre-recorded webinar to articles to prior podcasts. But we also have our Non-Diet Mentorship program, which is a high-level mentorship program for health professionals who want to take their business to a non-diet model of care, 6-month journey. It happens twice a year in the month of July 1st and then January 1st. You can go and either register for our wait list if we're not in an enrollment period, or if we are in an enrollment period, you can fill up an application. It's by application. And then you will book a consultation with me. And then we will see if we are the right fit, if I can help you and if you can benefit from our program. So this is it. We're going to close this season 3 with this episode, and I'll see you in season 4. Yes, because it's going to happen again. Season 4 in the month of October, probably the last week of October 2021 and the month of November. I'll see you then. In the meantime, we'll come back to our regular podcast.